Hey, SaaS fam, wanted to show you a way to check the most important thing in SaaS right now is definitely email delivery. Now, one of the fundamental things you really want to understand is email is something you own. Okay. You own your email address, right? And why is that important? It's very important because when you talk about other avenues for actually acquiring business and more customers, you're talking about areas that you don't necessarily own. So you don't own organic because you have to go out and you have to build on it. If you were dropped in the middle of an area that was an area that you wanted to go grow and scale, you would want to go get your email first because email delivery or email in general is going to be your fastest growing channel. You should always have this right. This is something that's been a real challenge. And what I've seen is very few SaaS companies actually have this right. It's taken a lot more, and the attack surface has widened deeply since COVID. So employees are remote, they're getting phished. They're getting these phishing emails are friggin' really good now. I click through them just to see what happens all the time and just play with them all the time and see. But you're going to start to notice that companies that can get emails delivered are going to start to really exceed in the SaaS game. So there's teams of people that have entire SDR teams that are just completely wasting their time, almost 100% of their time if they're sending any emails. That's why you hear get them on the phones. However, if you could get them on the email and the phones, you'd have a dual approach, which is always going to be better. And then obviously LinkedIn's cracking down on your automation stuff. Listen, let me show you how you do this very simple. I want to show you just a step-by-step process to figure out if your emails are getting delivered. This is just the start of it. But if you have this, it's a lot better off. Okay. It puts you in a much better spot. But I bet if you try this and you go and see if this is actually working, you're going to find it's probably not. And then it goes to a bunch of other things just to find out. This right here is an email from my business email, revenueadvisory.com. Please don't dox me if you see anything here. But this right here is where you would see an email come through. And then if you were to go in here and do show original, you'll get this. There's three settings that you're going to see here. Okay. The three settings are SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. Okay. What are these settings? These settings are very well documented when you set up Google. The problem is the two emails right here are these two steps usually are skipped. This step is sometimes skipped. There's some people who have it all wrong, completely wrong, 100%, but it's pretty pathetic when that happens. So what I would do is, first thing I would do is take the entire email, copy it, then go to MX Toolbox, click on Analyze Headers, and this is what you want to look for. Now, when you look for this, you're going to see here, full, of course, green, of course, because we've really dialed this in, right? Now, I'm not one to brag here, but this is what we're doing. We're trying to get these emails listed. Now, apparently, this is on a blacklist somewhere, but that has nothing to do with me, and I'll never be able to fix that because it's Outlook. So that's not going to get rejected either way. But if you look here, what's going on is I've set the entire server up. It's all green. What you're going to have is varying degrees of this. Okay. And what I want to show you is what this might look like if we take a header from somebody who hasn't set this up. So let's just take a look. I'm going to go look at, let's just take a look. We'll look at, let's see here. Let's take, I bet these guys have, this is just a guess. This is Demand Curve. They're one of the best newsletters out there. You can check it out. Let's just check and see. It looks like they probably have. This is a newsletter here. Let's take a look at theirs. I bet this one's set up. It's just a guess because these guys have some pretty good talent on the team. And we are, okay, so this isn't a big deal. It can be a little bit of a, ooh, this could be a little bit worse, but they do have something here. There's something wrong here. I bet it's still getting delivered. These guys are like double opt-in. There's no problem. But if this was your SDR team calling cold here, right? Cold emails are hard to get into the inbox. The primary inbox is where you want to be. Otherwise, your email's not going to get a response. I argue you should spend more time on this than the actual email themselves. Don't spend a lot. Get this fixed first. This is your first problem in the company. And I worked at Series D companies, E company, F, G, H, all the letters out there. And these companies didn't have this. And it's really embarrassing. When I talk to these people, they're like, yeah, wow, I guess I didn't have that. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Just fix it and move on. Let's do another person that I know, Nathan Laka. Some of you guys know him. He's definitely somebody in SaaS, a little bit of a pirate ship guy. But if we were to look here, let's take a look at his email. So this is an email I got. It did hit, I think it hit the promotions folder, but let's take a look here. Boom. This is probably what yours will look like. What this is showing you, DMARC didn't have that set up. Just nothing. No DMARC record. Big problem. SPF, not aligned. What this means is he's got IP addresses here. This looks like the wrong. He's using this SPF, but that's not on here. So he did not set this up properly. It looks like there's a mismatch here. This SPF that he's sending. So he's sending whatever this is. This is probably, I think this is Active Campaign. He's sending it with Active Campaign. He did not set this up. And what this is a misalignment. So possibly he set up Gmail, but he hasn't set this up. This is going to end up at spam, especially if you're calling into the Fortune 500. So what you want to do, once again, you want to make sure that this shows up green. If it doesn't, send it to your IT team. Say, hey, this is a problem. I heard it on the SaaS growth. Listen, if you get into a real brawl with your IT team, give me a buzz. I'll try to help you out. I'm starting to not do this for free anymore because probably fixed almost 200 email servers now. And unfortunately, it was one of the reasons that I left the company. A small disagreement with the CEO about this, my last company. But what I would say here is, and by disagreement, I was right. I just want to make that clear. But basically what you're looking for is you're looking for those. That's going to be fine. You're going to get that red. But then what you want to really do is you want to make sure, though, there's one more check. If you use an engagement platform, SalesLoft, Lemlist, Outreach, all these engagement platforms, there's one more thing you have to check. And this is usually your RevOps team. The first step you have to check with your IT, which is this. The second step doesn't show up on there. That's your pixel. Okay. Now your marketing team most likely has this set up. If they don't, it is what it is, right? But if we were to look here, I'm going to find one that I'm pretty sure that I've checked. Let me just find one here. Somebody has sent me one before. I've done some checking for a lot of people. Let's see here. Let's find one that's a little more. Here we go. So this one uses, let's see if this one's set up right. Yes, it looks like they're not using a tracking pixel on this one. So this is the Open Tracker, and the Open Tracker has to be set up in the engagement platform. What we want to look for here is inside, when you go inside these email tests, you want to look at the very bottom. And at the very bottom, I'm going to show you one here. You're going to see one. This is somebody's email test here. You're going to see something that shows domain name. I'm trying to find one that's a little bit more clear. Probably should have prepared that, but that's fine. I don't mind doing this here. Here, actually, I think I found one here. So I'll run the Rev Genius one for Jared, just so he can see, right? If we were looking at this is an email. I think this is when did I get this email from the Rev Genius? I got this email on, so they could have fixed this by now, August 22nd. Rev Genius, if you want to reach out, I can tell you your emails are going through. So let's see here. So looks like DKIM's not installed. Now, the problem with this email, though, is a little bit more intense. So what you got to look at here is if we looked at the very bottom of this email, there's an Open Tracker. And if you look here, this Open Tracker does not have the Rev Genius domain name. That is the final step. A lot of people forget that. Now, what has Open Trackers? Anything that has an Open Tracking in it. So this is called Active Campaign. That's for marketing teams to send newsletters and email correspondence. But then your SDR team has another level. They have to do it in Outreach, SalesLoft, all of these, Groove, they all have this. You have to set this step up because what will happen is that Open Tracker will get you blocked. It'll get you put in spam. Now, what I would do is ignore all the experts. Okay. They're on there telling you, wow, if you do this on this email, and you're probably like, wow, that's not working. 9 out of 10 times right now, I'm finding it has nothing to do with the SDR email. In fact, you could just write shit in there. And as long as you land into the inbox, it's going to work a lot better. So anyways, that's the tip of the week here. We're going to put some tools in the bottom. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.